So let me share my screen. Okay, so as I was mentioning, most iPhones have something called Touch ID or Face ID. Touch ID is the fingerprint sensor, and those are on the iPhone 5S and above. And if it doesn't have that, then most likely it'll have something called Face ID, which is where it scans your face to unlock the phone and for other things as well. And you have to have an iPhone 10 or above for that to have that feature. And the only phone that's recent but still has Touch ID is the iPhone SE2. That one's a recent phone and it has the fingerprint sensor with the home button instead of Face ID. So to access the settings and change, the face or set it up for the first time even, open the settings app, the little gray button with the gears on it, and scroll down to the third main box, and you'll see something towards the middle that says Face ID and passcode. This one right here, the one that's a little gray in mine. Go ahead and tap that. Now I already have it set up, so it'll ask me to enter my passcode. So I'll do that. If you don't have a passcode or this is your first time using it, then you can go ahead and it shouldn't ask you anything. It should automatically push you through. So now that you're in this is your main controls for all of the settings for Face ID. On my phone, I have Face ID. If you don't, it'll say Touch ID, and it'll be very similar to what my screen shows. The only difference is where it says Face ID, it'll say Touch. So I have it set up that it can be used to unlock my iPhone for the iTunes and App Store. So I'm downloading an app, instead of typing in my password for Apple ID every time, it'll scan my face. For Apple Pay, so if I have some credit cards saved on Apple Pay, and so instead of having me type in my passcode for confirmation, it'll scan my face. For password autofill, meaning I have some passwords that are saved on the phone. So instead of automatically entering that for anybody who uses my phone, it wants to scan my face to confirm it. And other apps. So other apps, if I tap it, these are the other apps I've downloaded from the App Store mostly. And I can use it here too. So such as Amazon app for security, the Apple Store app, and many others that it's currently on for. You can go back and see this. So if you have Face ID, which is what I'm seeing here as well, it allows you to set up 2 different faces to unlock your phone. So 2 different faces can unlock the phone. Currently, I have one set up. That's why mine says reset Face ID and set up an alternate appearance. I only have one face set up, which is mine, to unlock the phone. So that's what it shows. If you don't have anything set up, it should say set up Face ID. You can tap that. If you have Touch ID, you're allowed to have 5 different fingers saved. It can be yours or somebody else's, different fingers saved, and those can be used to unlock up to 5. Now, if you want to set it up, go ahead and tap on Setup, Face ID or Touch ID, depending. If it's Face ID, it will ask you to scan your face, such as this. How to set up Face ID? Basically, you're going to have your camera and your face, as shown in here, set inside of the ring, and you're going to rotate your neck all the way around 360 degrees to set up Face ID. So I'll get started. So I'm positioning my face. Now I'll go up and go all the way around. As you saw, I got green as soon as I did it. I have to do that twice. I'll go ahead and cancel it because I already have my face set up. For Touch ID, I'm sorry. For Touch ID, let's say I want to do my thumb. I don't have it on my phone, but instead of set up alternate appearance, it'll say set up Touch ID or add a fingerprint if you already have a finger set up. So if I want to do my thumb, I'll put it on the home button. That's where the fingerprint sensor is. And it'll tell me how many times I do it, maybe 10, 15 times. I put my finger and lift it, put my finger down and lift it. It'll do that, and then it'll have you do it again, but it wants to capture the second time around. It wants to capture the edges of your finger. So you can go and put the edges here and there like this, as I'm showing in my camera. So it'll guide you on that. It's also fairly simple, just as the Face ID one. Now on Face ID, there's extra settings, such as attention. Require attention for Face ID. So this is basically, it'll have you look at the phone and make sure you're looking at the camera or looking at the phone to unlock it. Same thing with the, they don't have that for the Touch ID, but the reason that feature is there is because, many times you don't want the phone to unlock if it's just sitting here. Let's say I have it right here and I'm looking around and looking and, talking to someone. I don't want my phone to unlock them. So that's why I require attention. So I have to look at my phone and unlock it. Attention aware features is another thing. It changes things based on if you're looking at the phone, such as dimming the display or auto dimming. Meaning if I'm looking at the phone, the brightness of my screen will not go down because it realizes I'm looking at it. Another thing is if I get a notification on my phone while the screen is locked, I have to look at it in order to unlock and read the notification. Another feature for these are examples. Another example is if my phone is ringing, someone's calling me, I have to look at my phone. When I look at my phone, the ringer volume will automatically be decreased because the phone recognizes that I've looked at my phone and now I know that I'm looking at the phone. So there's no need for it to play at full volume anymore. Those are just for Face ID. The last things down at the bottom are turn passcode off or change passcode. For me, turn passcode off is blocked because I currently have the Face ID set up. I have to press reset Face ID in order to turn off my passcode. I can change my passcode by tapping it. It'll have me enter my old passcode and enter new ones. I can also require my passcode immediately, or that's the only option on the Face ID, I believe. But I can also have it set up for maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes if I have Touch ID on my phone. And the bottom options are things that I can allow if my phone is locked, such as looking at the notification center, using Siri, or replying to a message from the locked screen. If I have those on. The last option is erase data, all the way at the bottom. I have that off because I don't want that feature. Basically, that is if I don't type in the correct code on my phone 10 times, it'll restore my phone and erase everything from my phone. I don't want that to happen because, if I forget my passcode or if someone else is using it and playing around with my phone, I don't want everything to go away from my phone in case I haven't saved the information or backed it up. But that is the main rundown of how Face ID and passcode works. And same thing for Touch ID, it's very similar, except for the facial recognition versus fingerprint recognition. Are there any questions by anybody about this topic?
Mano, when you go, there is a USB accessories which is turned off. What that means?
Basically, USB accessories is if I have an adapter on the bottom of my phone and plug in something such as maybe a USB itself or an adapter so I can connect my phone to the projectors. I know when I used to teach the class in India House in person, I used to have an adapter and I used to connect my phone to the projector with the cable. So that is considered a USB accessory. So if my phone is locked, that won't work. I have to unlock my phone to do that. That's why mine is off, because if I don't want anybody to plug something into my phone and have access to my whole phone just because they've plugged something in. So it's just a safety feature to have it unlocked. Someone to plug when someone's using it plugged in. the same thing with all of these other options under the topic allow access when locked. It's asking you if people are allowed to use these things when the phone is locked, such as the view of today. So my phone is locked. You guys can see my time and today's view. If I scroll to the side, you can see my widgets that I have. You can see the notification center. And I unlock my phone and I can access the whole phone. So that's basically what this topic is. Any other questions about this now or anything else?
No, thank you, Manu.